Hey, good afternoon, guys. We're going to sit out here and do a quick little review over the Bank 600-pound deer feeder here. And I'll first kind of walk you through how we got this established. We do have an 8-foot post here. It is approximately 3 foot underneath the ground there, and I quick-created it in. And you're going to want to have 5 foot above ground. So if you are not able to get that thing all the way down into the 3 foot range, expect to cut, some of it off there. But I would highly recommend at least getting to that 2.5 foot mark, just because you do have a pretty heavy feeder here. Now, after that, I came through there and I put a whole bunch of Quikrete, leveled it up, and then we were let it set for several days. And then once we got the feeder in, then we came back in here. Now, one thing I will touch on is what we found is when we first tried to get this on that post, this particular post, and I imagine the rest of them are probably going to be expanded. I think that's probably because they got wet at some point or another. But what we found is if we cut the corners, say a slither, maybe 1/2 inch, straight down there for about 1.5 foot on each side there of that post, that thing was able to move up and down here. Now, the next subject I'm going to talk about is what the height you actually need for these feeders for deer that come in there. But before we get to that, we're going to take a quick little commercial for our sponsor this week, Brad Hill State Farm out of Monett, Missouri, and then we'll get back to the feeder.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact Brad Hill for an auto quote today.
All right, guys, so covering the height that we need to have these particular eating stations at is going to be roughly between 40 and 42 inches. Any higher than that, I think you're going to find that your deer are going to have a harder time. But a larger deer can probably feed a little bit higher. But just in general, that 40-42 inch mark is really the way to go. And then moving on from that is some of the biggest perks of this feeder is the ability, when this thing gets empty, that you're actually able to move this feeder very easily from one 6x6 post to another. So if you wanted to have 3 or 4 different stations throughout your piece of property, you wanted to move it around, on occasion, then you could do so. Me personally, I like to have my feeding stations, there year round, if legal, and I find that these work out very well. Another great thing about this is you don't have the legs on this, where typically with your a lot of your feeders, you got your 3 or 4 tripod legs there, and the deer continuously bump into those, and it just kind of gets in the way at points in time. And that's another thing why I really like these feeders, is you've eliminated that entirely. Now, as you guys can see around me, I've actually got a perimeter of what I call hog panels, but some people call them cattle panels. Basically what they are is the 16 foot by 4 foot panels that you guys can get at any kind of hardware or outdoor, such as Lowe's or Race Brothers, Orson Tractor Supply, any of those stores. You can get those things. And basically I've just got an assortment of T-posts around here, and I've just created that. I've got 2 entryways, one to my right and one to the left. I cut off 3 little segments of that just with the little saw, and then it's 8 wide. So I'm going to say it's probably got to be 1.5 foot tall opening there, and then by probably 4 or 5 foot on the width there. But the deer, they come in here, they got a really nice trail coming in here. They feed on these things all the time, and it works out very well. So hopefully this helps you guys out on a quick little review of the Banks 600-pound feeder. It's definitely one to look into. They're high quality, they're going to last a long time, and appreciate you guys liking, following the video there. And like always, hopefully you guys are getting out there in nature, and best of luck on your upcoming hunt.